Hi, everyone. This is Corey Harrigan speaking on behalf of the English department, and we're going to be introducing you to ourselves and the program. We'll give you a little bit of background information. We'll tell you a little bit about activities and um, events you can participate in, and then we'll have a little bit of discussion after the PowerPoint presentation with a couple of our alums that we're lucky to have present right now, Bailey First and Erica Bars, and a current student, Amron Bourne.
Hi, my name is JJ Butts. I'm a professor in the English department. This is our department's mission statement. As with most mission statements, it's a little on the long side. So I thought I would just walk you through what we do instead. What we do in the English department, we do a lot of reading, we do a lot of writing in various forms, and we do a lot of thinking and discussing all of those things. Why we do it, one of the things we're aiming to do is to study literature and language from a variety of perspectives, particularly to understand the world that we live in better, to understand the cultures that we interact with better. And the results that we hope to achieve by doing this are to be able to critically think better, to write better, to read better, to engage with our world better, and also to have fun.
And here we have the current members of the English department at Simpson. As I said before, my name is Corey Ann Harrigan, and I'm the current chair of the department. And my rank is professor, not that that really matters that much. I have been at Simpson for going on 20 years. My specialty is British literature, particularly early British. So I teach classes like Shakespeare and Chaucer, and also British Lit surveys and linguistics. And occasionally, when I'm lucky, I'll teach Western literature as well.
And my name is David Wolf, professor of English. I'm in my 21st year, so I'm turning 21 this year. And so that's a landmark occasion. I teach creative writing, literary theory, and contemporary literature.
Hi, this is JJ Butts again. I am the junior professor in the department. I've been here for 9 years, since 2011. And my focus is primarily on American literature, and I teach a lot of our multi-ethnic literature courses. So I teach African American literature and Asian American literature and Latinx literature. And I also teach our film courses.
We're going to talk just a little bit in the following slides here about the classes that we have in the English department. We have a curriculum that we have designed to give people a good background in literature and writing. Represented here on this slide are a few examples of students who have gone on to do some really great things. In the center is Antonia Reyes, who currently teaches he tutors for the education program at Drake. I believe that's correct. And we had a really nice graduation photo there. Our colleague Nancy St. Clair, who retired a couple of years ago, is the other person represented. On the right-hand side, you'll see an image taken from, I believe, JJ's theory class. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. One of the students in the foreground there, Danny Judge, is a job for the state, though, for Iowa State. Brianna, who is in the master's program at Iowa State right now. There are a couple of other students represented in this photo who have gone on to graduate school. One who is now currently teaching in Omaha. So people go on to do great things after they graduate from Simpson College. Again, we will have a chance to talk to our alums about that in a couple minutes. So what you see on this slide is the requirements for the required classes for the English major and the English minor. The major consists of 10 classes, and it's broken down into a couple of survey courses between British and American literature. Everyone needs to take at least one creative writing course. This is a little unusual for English majors. We have gotten good feedback on having this as part of our curriculum. We do feel it's important for students to have some experience producing creative works. So everyone has to have one of those classes. We also require one course in pre-1800 literature. I teach pretty much all of those now, things like Shakespeare and Chaucer. One ethnic US literature course or a global literature course. We mostly have the ethnic US courses, so things like African American Lit or Latinx literature. Then students can take a variety of electives. A couple of them have to be the upper level electives. And finally, the senior project, which provides our majors a chance to do more engaged work with some advanced texts and a more sustained research project. And the senior project has traditionally been the way that people bring together everything they've learned in all of their classes up to that point, their research skills, their writing skills, their literary analysis skills, to show that they have reached a point of mastery with those skills. The minor is drawing from the same set of courses, but students don't have to take as many courses from the curriculum.
One of the great opportunities that we have is a Poets and Writers series. So every year we have a couple of writers come in and read, and they go into our classrooms and engage with students. The set of writers that you see up here is a particularly impressive one. Ray Youngbear is a very, very well-known Native American poet. Lainey Zumas is an up-and-coming author from Portland, Oregon, and she's made quite a name for herself with her most recent novel, Red Clocks. And Casey Knott and Haidang Fan are both poets and both very well known as well.
We offer our students some opportunities for experiential learning in the realm of editing and publishing. Some of these are folded into existing coursework, and some are more co-curricular and or are connected with on-campus internship opportunities. So you see some of these publications here. First of all, Sequel, students can serve as editors and contributors to Sequel, and Sequel is Simpson's Literary and Visual Arts Annual, published continuously since 1948. Our alums on the program are represented quite well in previous issues of Sequel magazine, and have been involved in both the editorial side and the contributor side. The publication is currently produced in our advanced level creative writing course, the Creative Writing Workshop. So students get credit for producing that annual. Student editors review submissions, decide the content, learning valuable editing and production skills along the way as part of the process. Other editorial opportunities exist with Jana's Head, an international journal of philosophy and the arts that I co-edit with philosophy professor John Polly. Students can get involved there on the production process and on the reading of manuscripts. Many English majors also write and edit for the Simpsonian, which is Simpson's award-winning student-run newspaper. Quite often that is due to their situation as double majors or minors in multimedia communication. So we have those publication and editing experiential learning opportunities open to English majors, but also to students outside the English department and from across the campus.
So as you might guess, many people who major in English are interested in teaching K-12 secondary school. And we do have a number of students who are placed very successfully in Central Iowa. This particular student, Lauren Anderson, alum, I need to be careful about my designation there. This alum, Lauren Anderson, is, I think, currently up in Iowa Falls. She was a very impressive student while she was here. She was very ambitious, did a great job in her courses and in her extracurricular work. And we have a program that really works quite well between the requirements of the secondary education minor and the English major. Students have very little trouble completing their coursework in the 4 years that they allot for that. We try to make sure to catch all of the required courses in their endorsement areas in good time so that they are able to complete things without having to worry about the last semester, which is when most of our students will do their student teaching. But it is very easy to do an English major and a secondary education minor in order to get the appropriate endorsements for teaching English in Iowa.
So we have also a number of co-curricular activities that students get involved in, ranging from, as you can see on the left, this was a reading that took place in Des Moines. So sometimes we have students go up and read in the cafes in Des Moines. This one happens to be in a coffee shop in a small neighborhood called Beaverdale. We also have the next picture over is from our campus college research symposium, research and creativity symposium. So this happens every year, and students really in any year can apply to engage in their research and read their research, or other creative activities, write poetry or fiction, and people from across the campus come to engage with that. It's a really great activity. We have a lot of internships available. You can see Erica Bars here in this one in Washington, D.C. I'm sure she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that later on. And the last picture over on the right there is from the Midwest Undergraduate Conference in the Humanities, which is a conference that is run among several schools, mostly in Iowa, where students share their research with one another.
So besides teaching and presenting at conferences, we do want to let prospective students know that you really can have some interesting options after you complete your English degree at Simpson College. We do have, as we've mentioned already, a number of students who will go on to some kind of graduate work. The two students in the center of this slide are ones who have gone on to law school, both the University of Virginia and the University of Iowa Law Schools represented here. The student on the left, who was in the previous slide at the Midwest Undergraduate Conference in Humanities, he has gone on to work on his PhD in philosophy, and ideally he's going to be teaching very soon. And on the right, again, we've got the student who is currently working on her master's degree at Iowa State, and she is not only engaged right now with writing for the master's degree, she also is continuing one of her special interests from college, which is acting. And even in the pandemic, she's been able to get involved in acting jobs. So these are folks who've gone on from Simpson to do some really big things, and we expect to see much more of them after they've completed their graduate work.
The flexible career paths pursued by our graduates are common for English majors nationally and historically. After completing my English major at the University of Iowa, for instance, I pursued a career in the business end of magazine publishing in New York City. My second career choice after that was academia, and so here I remain for the time being. Featured here we see Ethan Zierke, who used the skills he developed through our editing and publishing experiential learning opportunities, and started his own editing business immediately after college, and quite successful with that. He also taught a while abroad in Vietnam, but he continued working and running his business from there as well. Mike Elliott continues to successfully write and publish his fiction while employing his English and Spanish skills in the insurance industry. And if you Google him as Mike Elliott and look for his creative writing, you should Google him as Mike Laron. So that would be his pen name. Allison Jepson has recently returned to Iowa to work for the Iowa Department of Education after several years in Colorado, where she worked as a judicial education coordinator in the state justice system. And Amy Badger, in the center of that last photograph, also works in the insurance industry and is the lead singer and lyricist for the band Son of the Morning. So I would say putting to work the critical and creative reading and writing skills they developed at Simpson, these graduates exemplify the varied career paths open to English majors. It's not always a direct line to a specific career, but the major provides, like other majors in the humanities, the flexibility, the critical thinking skills, and creative thinking skills to pursue a variety of careers. And I would say that anywhere where communication is valued and needed, your English major will pay off in that sense. Certainly in the communications field, that's true too. But the added depth and critical thinking skills you gain through reading texts, studying texts, writing about them, creating your own text in the English department will provide you even more skills and will prepare you even more so for a variety of career paths upon graduation.
So we're fortunate to have with us today two alums and a current student. And I think that the proof of the quality of education really is in the students. And so I wanted to ask them to speak a little bit to their experiences here. And since I've already introduced Erica Bars, I think we'll go in order of distance from graduation. So Erica, do you mind speaking to your experience at Simpson and what you've taken from it in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Erica Bars. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I graduated from Simpson in 2015, and I had an English major. I also minored in women's and gender studies and multimedia journalism. So sort of just to map you through my path at Simpson, I think one thing that I am grateful that the department has really emphasized with this presentation is just the vast variety of things that an English major at Simpson equips you to do. Because I think there's often this perception, this misconception that that English major is like a very narrow pathway, like you're going into it to do like a very specific thing. And I really think that the skills that I gained at Simpson, the creative thinking skills, the being able to analyze a text, being able like to write well, have really, really served me in my career after Simpson, and allowed me to build the connections and the skills I needed to while I was at Simpson to make that possible. So while I was at Simpson, I was an English major, and then I also sort of what got me started on the career path I'm on now, the sort of what sparked it for me initially. I got really involved with the Simpson Pride group at Simpson, and was really really inspired by that group and the advocacy inherent in that group, and learned a lot about LGBTQ rights, the movement for LGBTQ rights, and just like social justice movements more broadly as well. And that really inspired me to want to pursue a career in advocacy. And so I believe this, like the summer after my sophomore year, by working with my academic advisor, Corianne Harrigan, and the career rep.
Career services.
Career services, thank you. We're working with Corey and Career Services, was able to get connected with One Iowa, which is based in Des Moines and is a statewide LGBTQ advocacy organization based in Des Moines. So I was able to intern there, and while I was there, was able to use the skills I had gained through my English classes at Simpson to help them research the experiences of LGBTQ older adults in the state of Iowa, and then help them to write a report about those the findings of that, what they had found through that research, and help them to analyze the survey results. So that was something I definitely was only able to do because of the skills I gained at Simpson through those classes and through the tutelage of the Simpson professors. And then fast forwarding a little bit, I stayed involved with Simpson Pride and with One Iowa, volunteering with them. And then my last semester at Simpson, I actually participated in the Capitol Hill internship program, which is, I think it still is, an internship program at Simpson that allows you to actually travel to Washington, D.C. For a semester and be provided with housing, which is the big thing that is really important to have in DC, to be able to successfully do an internship there. So I actually was through that program able to have an internship with PFLAG, which is a national chapter-based organization that's sort of specifically geared towards allies of the LGBTQ community. So so the acronym used to stand for Parents, Family, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, but they've sort of like just gone with saying, it's like, they're still called PFLAG, but like have expanded their purview a little bit past their initial acronym. But I was a policy and communications intern with them during my last semester at Simpson. And that was an incredible experience, and also really was able to learn a lot while I was there, and was able to fulfill the requirements of that internship only because I was able to use the skills I got through my English classes to analyze policy, to be able to simplify the language and be able to communicate it to the different people in all the chapters around the country, and be able to communicate with all different types of people with different backgrounds and coming to issues with different knowledge bases. And then after I graduated from Simpson, after that internship, I ended up getting a full-time position at One Iowa, where I'd initially interned a few years before as a communications specialist. And while I was there, I ended up sort of expanding my purview to also working with grants. So helping the organization to apply for funds from a variety of sources, and then helping staff to report on those things, in addition to like my initial communications duties, which like included press relations, submitting press releases, social media, just sort of being the main writer on staff, like writing all of the copy, and communicating the mission of the organization to a wider audience. And for the last year now, I from One Iowa went to the ACLU of Iowa, where I currently work as a community engagement associate. So in my role there, I'm responsible for making sure that people all around the state of Iowa are aware of the ACLU of Iowa and our work, to defend and protect the civil liberties of all Iowans, and doing presentations, helping people advocate to their state legislators at the Capitol, running events, and sort of like just communicating the importance of a variety of issues like LGBTQ rights, immigrants' rights, criminal legal system reform, a variety of topics to people in the state of Iowa. And I honestly wouldn't be where I'm at today without having gone to Simpson and having been an English major. And I don't think that there's any undergraduate experience I could have had that would have prepared me better. And I'm thrilled that I was invited to be here and to share that. And thank you for having me.
Thanks. You can tell what an effective speaker she is as well, in advocating for things. A little bit more recent graduate, Bailey first.
I graduated in May. So 2020 May. Anyway, thank you guys for having me today. I'm super excited to be joining you from my parents' house, where I am still living after we had to move out during the pandemic. But my job, I got a job in April, actually, while I was still finishing my degree, and lucky enough to still be working from home for that, but I'll get back to that. So kind of echoing off of what Erica said, my English degree was probably one of the best decisions I made at Simpson, as a joint program in conjunction with, I also have a degree in public relations and a minor in political science. So when I first signed up for my classes at Simpson, I actually signed up for British literature with Corianne purely because I was planning on studying abroad in London, not because I was planning on being an English major. I was planning on going to Simpson to do pre-law, maybe journalism, I wasn't sure. But after about a week in Corianne's class, I changed my mind. And I really quickly decided that I wanted to do the English major. I switched to public relations major as well, and really dived in headfirst from there. I was very involved in the public relations side of my degree, but I did participate in some of the English programs as well. I wrote for the sequel a couple of years. I was the advertising director for the Simpsonian, and I wrote for the Simpsonian as well. Yeah, it was English definitely is the thing that helped me I had 5 internships while I was at Simpson. One for 3 years with the career development office, 2 with some local Indianola community small businesses, and then I had 1 for 2 years with Iowa Farm Bureau, which is the largest grassroots nonprofit advocacy organization, lobbying organization in Iowa. And then I also interned with NBC when they were covering Iowa for the caucus this last year. So really, and I distinctly remember when I went in for my interview during my sophomore year with Farm Bureau, it was very competitive. They told me, the chances of me getting my internship was lower because I wasn't getting a degree in agriculture. But what set me above everyone else was my English degree, because I focused really heavily on how important I thought writing was during my interview. Writing is the #1 skill that employers look for when you are graduating. Writing and critical thinking are the top 2 that they're looking for. You have to be a good writer to get a job, especially in the job market today. So that's the best thing. While I don't use my iambic pentameter or pull out any Shakespeare verses every day at my job, I do write every day at my job. I edit all sorts of different mediums. And I know I wouldn't have gotten my current position. I'm the events and marketing communications manager for the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce. I wouldn't have gotten it if I didn't have that English background as well, because it's just so important to be able to write well, to edit well, to speak well, which is part of the communications piece, even though I'm flubbing a little bit right now. But yeah, thanks again for letting me be here.
Thanks, Bailey. And Amron Bourne is a current student. And Amron, you've had a little bit of a path that's somewhat unusual that a lot of people wouldn't think of, right? In your choice of majors.
Yes. English is not my main major. I am an environmental science major, and I'm minoring in biology and chemistry. And then I'm also majoring in English. A lot of English majors double major, but not usually in the sciences. So that's definitely a little different. I came to Simpson not planning on studying English at all. I always loved English in high school, but it was never my plan to like pursue that in college. I took a couple classes. The professors encouraged me to maybe think about an English minor. And so I did. I said, okay, I'm going to get an English minor. And then that just turned into an English major. I just love all the classes. I love taking them. I think they're very fun. But I also think, kind of like Bailey said, like just the communication skills and the writing skills that you get from these English classes can help you in any field, whether that is, you know, PR, poli-sci, or environmental science or biology. Writing skills and communication skills are important in all fields.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing because Amron didn't mention it. She is currently working as my writing fellow for SC 101, so for the first year course, and is therefore really applying some of the skills that she has gained as a writer to help other people become better writers. I suppose that pretty much wraps things up, doesn't it?
Thank y'all.
Thank you. It's really meaningful for all of you to participate. Thanks again.